What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the 101st edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast featuring, well, I guess it's just the two of us tonight. I'm your Jack Mankel.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
And you can see we're down a guy for the day, so it's just the two of us. Apparently that damn thing they call work seems to have consumed one of the three of us. So it'll be just us two at the controls today. So we'll see how this goes. As we kind of look ahead to the episode, we'll talk a little bit of late model stock race and some Lucas Oil action. And then Cup Series, we'll break a little news, and then we'll preview one of the biggest weekends of the racing season up here in the Midwest. So that's kind of on the agenda. But as we do, we're just going to do a brief other sports report before we get into the racing action. So
yeah, we're rolling with the Two Stones Pit Crew podcast this week.
I think this is the first time been you and I since this thing has started.
Yeah.
Weird.
Usually we are able to accommodate work and whatever, but this week we're just rolling the two brothers and the two Stones Pit Crew podcast. So you're gonna get a little brother action here this week on the podcast, and I don't know. We'll see if this one turns out better than all the other ones. Maybe the old tire changer, he's gonna have to come back and maybe audition for his job back. We'll see. So yeah, I don't know. Solid weekend. The old Packer game last night. Like,
don't get me started. So I got a little bit of couple things. I got a little bit of the Fleming Enterprises going on right now with this whole Packer thing. So obviously, if you follow Barstool at all, obviously Frank Fleming, his phone debacle and the Mets having the best record in MLB and getting eliminated, like he's uneasy times, and I think the Dolphins are getting ready to get rocked yet tonight too. So, and I'm kind of thinking about it, right? Like professional sports. How many times in a professional sport outside of the game of football do we have a freaking tie? Never. Like, how do you walk out of that stadium and the NFL can walk out of there and let them go, yeah, we're going to let these teams tie? Billions and billions of dollars in TV deals and contracts in organizations and money, and yeah, we're going to tie. Give me a break. And if that game was still going on at 6 o'clock this morning because they couldn't figure out a winner, let them play through the entire night. I want to know a winner. Now we got the win losses and then the one. We got the 3-digit record now because this the overtime rules in the NFL have been stupid for a long time. Now we're sit here with a freaking tie.
And yeah, I'll jump in here too and just say, I mean, like I stayed up all night to watch that game, and that was like the first time I watched a football game, and like went to bed and I was like I had zero emotion. Like I was like, I don't know what. Like I just watched this game for 3.5 hours.
Yep.
And we didn't win or we didn't lose. So I was like, honestly, I thought that was stupid. I was like,
what are we doing?
Yeah. And I mean, at least we're making steps in the right direction. At least now it's not first team that scores wins the game, because that was, if you received, you were going to win the game.
Yep.
But I don't get, like, I don't understand these, like, people that get paid the big bucks to make these decisions. I feel like it's pretty crystal clear what to do. Do what college football does. If each team scores and drives the field for one possession and everybody scores, okay, great. Then let's start at the 35. Let's move it back 10 yards. Let's start at the 35.
Yep.
And here you go. Let's play until we play from the 35. You got to score a touchdown. You got to go for 2 points. First team that doesn't execute it, game over. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I can't. Honestly, how are we at this point in the world where we allow ties in the NFL?
Obviously, yes, we have that. The Badgers had a week off. They roll up to Ann Arbor, Michigan on a Saturday morning, 11 a.m. kickoff. So they're going to have their work cut out for them, to say the least. This starts a stretch of rough games for them. I'm not real in tune with the MLB, but obviously the Brewers are having a hell of a season, apparently.
I'm not in tune either. Carolyn randomly will tune into a Brewers game. But yeah, supposedly got the 1 seed apparently.
Yeah, it's the Brewers apparently are pretty legit this year. So if you're a Brewer fan, I guess that you got that going for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm kind of invested in this Frank Fleming debacle at Barstool is going on right now.
Yeah, no, that's
if you've seen any of the content, I mean, that is absolute cannot miss content.
Yeah, that's I mean, and he's got every right to be pissed because I mean,
oh my God.
I think I saw it today, June 12th, they had the best record in the MLB in June 12th. And then after the All-Star break, I don't know who they pitched, but they pitched some guy and he gave up 4 home runs and
Carrillo.
Yeah.
4 home runs.
That set the tone for the second half of the year.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's
if you're watching this, you'll probably have to go back and watch it. He's doing a live stream tonight for the Dolphins game. He's a big Dolphins guy. They're playing bingo tonight for the Dolphins game. So he put together a wild card of a bingo board. So oh my God.
There's not a single positive thing on that bingo card.
No.
I forgot what the free space was. But I mean, one of them was Mike McDaniel looking clueless. So
I mean, said he was on Wake Up Barstool here on Monday morning, and he said the easiest. He goes, so Dolphins might lose again tonight, Frank. Yep, they're going to. And he goes, you know what? I hope they do. He goes, because what they need to do is clean house. And he goes, the more you lose, the faster the house is cleaned.
The free space was ugly logo.
Oh, you get the free space before the game even starts.
Yeah, he's got some wild stuff on there. Illegal formation, holding, offsides, 12-minute delay a game, fumble, interception, sack. Needless to say, not overly optimistic there for Fleming Enterprises, but
yeah, they're in shambles right now. So, oh man, he's keeping glasses companies in business. I'll tell you that much. The way he snaps them babies off,
for real.
Oh man. Well, I suppose we should probably talk a little racing. That's what we always do every week. And I think a good place to start, we're going to talk a little racing at the Martinsville Speedway at the Valley Star Credit Union 300. Obviously, a marquee event for the late model stocks, and we had Wisconsin driver Ty Majeski's up there for that one. So 78 cars, 79 cars, I believe, took time. He raced his way in through a qualifier. So ended up starting 39th of the 40 cars in the field. So he had his work cut out. But, we kind of talk about this a fair amount with the late model stocks, I guess, in particular. But, man, these guys like to junk a bunch of stuff. And we didn't even get to the green flag, and they had a whole bunch of race cars wrecked. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, that was a 200 lap race, and we had a bunch of race cars wrecked before we even got to the green. They kind of got going a little bit from there, and then about another 30 in or so, you had another car get turned to back in the middle of the field, and they junked another, 6 or 8 race cars. Landon Huffman, most notably, I just couldn't get loaded up and got run over there, and he ended up having his night wrecked. And I think, as you go through it, a little bit of a rain. They were fighting the rain a little bit, got to run for a while, had a little rain delay, and then they got back racing. But, I think the bigger conversation of kind of issues within the race comes around the Tristan McKee instance with what he did in that one. And I don't know, felt blatant. If it wasn't blatant, it was a horrible misjudge. I don't know where you stand on that one, but right down the front stretch, just right hooking race cars.
Clean them out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this politely, but I guess this is going to be the best I got. It feels like in this race, like these guys are in the equipment they are because of some of this, that what they put on display. Like,
First.
it just like there comes a point in time where it's just like, yes, finishing these races, like, I don't know. You got to start weighing, obviously these guys are a heck of a field, want to climb the ranks, good field across the board. And it's like, at what point do you just say, like, so many of these guys, I feel like, are just driving over their head because they would rather win or go for a win than get a good finish. And that's hard to put a good racing product on when you got a bunch of guys that are driving over their head because they feel like it's win or bust. And
Well, the hard part is that is like, so let's talk about this. Cars Tour is back in action this weekend. They're headed to Tri County. So you got guys that will, one, either have to scramble and spend a whole bunch of money again to put a race car together, or two, or the other option is to miss the Cars Tour race. So if you are somebody running for points, you are in a bad situation, again, potentially because of none of your own doing.
yeah, and I don't know. I felt like, too, the part with it was obviously Martinsville was a very bottom feeder track.
Yeah.
You had to be on the bottom to go. I felt like you could hold your own a little bit on the top side for a bit, and then you could get down. But again, I don't know. I just felt like it was a level of, maybe I'm tooting my own horn, but like professionalism, like you just felt like it was almost like a little bit of an amateur race. Like I felt like NASCAR, like Bristol race, for example, very bottom feeder track. It was a lot of bump and run, bump them up the track and then you can go under them. This, it just felt like, I don't know. It just felt like everybody was driving through everybody's left rear. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wait, I don't know. Just doesn't sit well with you as a race fan when it's like, you know, we can put on a better product than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like when you look at the McKee instance, he said what he had to say after the race, and he would never do that, and he didn't mean to do it, and he misjudged it, right? Like those two had raced fairly hard for a while there, and McKee obviously is in good equipment, but just the optics of the entire situation just felt so blatant, I guess is the way I would describe it.
Yeah,
But
and the tough part is,
it was
like,
just
there's
there was a
no
lot of like
repercussions.
coverage. Yeah, and then even some of the coverage from some of the guys, more national known guys covering this race, just said it feels like a mess, and it didn't really feel like a race because it was so broken up. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, then and then you kind of go into we even talk about that. Well, let's talk about the fact that the Trevor Ward on the restart jump or not, or the other line checks up or not. I don't know. However you want to look at that, he ends up getting black flag, has to do a pass through. He had a really fast race car, and unfortunately, that just kind of wrecked his day. He jumped at starts, so he got penalized for that, and then another rain delay with 30 to go, and you had to know that 30 lap run, that was going to be their last competition caution to kind of regroup and make changes and be ready to go. You knew it was going to kind of get aggressive, but then they had a caution with 3 to go again. And that sets you up with a green white checker. So you knew it was gonna get aggressive there when you got that 30 to go in. doesn't hide the fact that they're racing for good money. They're racing for a clock. There is a lot on the line. But in the same sense, right? Like bigger picture, some of these guys are going to have to try to. They're going to be burning the midnight oil to have their stuff ready to go for the coming weekend here.
Yeah, and I don't know how you get that to. I don't know how you get that through to somebody. Like, we talk about it in the Midwest. A lot of these guys work on their own stuff, and
Yep.
whether there is repercussion from the sanctioning body, from the series, from the track, is one thing. But a lot of these guys just straight up race clean because they know, hey, if I tear my stuff up,
It's me putting it back together.
Bingo.
Yep.
I'm going to be up until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning from Monday to Friday trying to piece this thing back together.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't want to say, there's instances where it feels like these guys, they've got good sponsors, good people behind them with a lot of money that back them, and it just teaches them, you get no repercussion from the track, and then they just know, hey, if I tear this up, it's all right. Sponsor or somebody who was helping me out, my team, that's all right. But we got a backup car. We'll roll out the backup car. We'll be ready to go next week, and then nobody learns how to. I don't know.
And it's not to say they're all like that, but it gives that sense of that to a certain degree that, I don't know, just it didn't leave a great taste in your mouth, watching that what was supposed to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest late model stock race of the year. Just knowing that I had a hard time watching when we had a bunch of race cars wrecked before we got to the start finish to start the race.
And I think, and we should backpedal. We're not saying everybody's like that in the series, and we shouldn't be so. I should try to be more positive. Let's not let the cautions take away from the race and everybody. Ultimately, it was a great race. Came down literally to the end, photo finish. Fantastic race. But like you said, it just feels like, the good racing gets overshadowed by some of the storylines here, and the cautions and the torn up equipment. But ultimately, it was a fantastic race. And I mean, right down to the bitter end. Finish there.
Even then, let's talk about the fact that Ty Majeski started that race 39th. He started quite literally shotgun on the field. He got involved in a couple of those messes, and he found his way back to the second row there on that last restart. You want to talk about having your work cut out for you. That, man, to be at the end of that 200 laps, starting shotgun on the field, to have even a chance at it, starting that deep to miss the mess, that's just an accomplishment alone. But he had a shot at it at the end there.
I was going to say, usually up in Wisconsin here in the Midwest, we do often see that Majeski starting shotgun on the field, but typically it's because they offered him another 10 grand to go shotgun on the field and get the win. So, you see him and it's like, hey, somebody throw an extra couple G's on this race that he's starting in the shotgun on the field. But no, I mean, and that's just Majeski. Like I don't want to say he's the pride and joy of, Midwest racing, but like that guy just does it right every single time. Like it feels like, and he gets in somebody else's equipment and just starts 39th and
took care of it the best he could without getting himself in trouble, and he found himself there at the end again.
Exactly. And I mean, like you said, going 39th to 5th there at those last couple of restarts, obviously he had to use up some of his stuff there to get to that point.
Yeah.
So he was hanging on there, and then ultimately, like you said, that last restart got him a little bit. But typically I was just thinking, I'm like, you don't typically see Majeski starting shotgun on the field. I'm like, oh wait, we typically do, because they tracks for the series throw an extra bounty on him, extra 10 or 15 grand to go to the back of the line, and he usually finds, as he did, finds his way to the front and a crack at it at the end, which is all I can ask for with these races.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the finish was a really good finish, and Landon Pendleton ends up winning it. That was actually turned out to be the last 2 laps. Turned out to be a hell of a finish. So
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a wrap on what was the Valley Star Credit Union 300 at Martinsville late model stocks. Obviously, some ups and downs with that whole event. All right. As we usually do, we like to jump all over the place. Next one, we're going to jump into the Jackson 100. Lucas Oil late model dirt series. Obviously, they've started their playoff hunt with their top 4 drivers. And obviously, everyone's going to kind of keep an eye on that and where those guys were at, kind of in accordance with each other, and where kind of those 4 were running throughout the race in terms of qualifying and heat races and what was going on with them. But we're going to talk more on the Saturday night portion of the Jackson 100. But Friday night, JD has a little bit of bad luck. Flat sends him to the rear, kind of gets caught in a little bit of a mess again, and had his work cut out for him on night 1. But night 2, kind of the same situation, him and Moran were racing hard, and ultimately JD ends up going around 44 laps in, so that sends him to the tail with 66 to go. So he has work cut out for him. Unfortunately for him on that Friday night feature, started on the front row.
Yeah, and we talked about this too. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, just about these races. You've got to be, can't afford a bad night, or a bad night. You can barely afford a bad lap. And thankfully for him, obviously Friday night didn't turn out as well, finishing what he finished 14th, and then on Saturday night after he went around was able to salvage a top 10 at least and get it back up to 6th. But yeah,
when you're chasing RTJ,
sorry, go ahead.
When you're chasing RTJ, unfortunately, when he wins the race, finishing 6th is a reasonable night. But when he wins the race, that's going to be tough to come by championship wise.
And I think that's the other point too. Talking about is, I mentioned it. I think it was either last week or the week before too. The whole switch and whatever the debacle with Ricky Thornton Jr. last year, he won everything he entered. It felt like with that SSI team, and then obviously a little bit of adjustment with the Kohler Motorsports team, and I feel like he's still not back. Well, he is back to his winning ways, but not, I feel like, as dominant as he was with SSI. But I feel like is what we're just seeing right now is just Ricky's he's stringing everything together consistently. And you're not seeing him have these bad nights. And that's ultimately what you got to do to win a championship.
And unfortunately for JD, some of the stuff was out of his own control. When we talk about racing for championship, you talk about the model consistency. If JD's got a 4th place car, he's going to bring it home between 3rd and 5th. He's that good that he can do that. But some of this, unfortunately, this weekend, it just was none of his own doing that really put himself in those situations. But yeah, just the hard part is when you're chasing RTJ, who's leading laps left and right. It just you're always a little bit behind the 8 ball just because he is he's the hottest he's been all season at the right time to try to win a championship again.
Yeah.
So,
and can you hear me all right or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Just made a switch on the microphone. Yeah, and to that point too, Devin Moran turning it on at the right time as well. Felt like he was lagging behind most of the year, but quietly has got himself in that playoff. And like we said, it's just like any sport. You get yourself in the playoffs, that's all you can ask for, and you get hot at the right time, and you got a shot. So he's obviously finding it, finishing was it 3rd and 2nd on the weekend, and then not quite as bad as, or JD didn't quite have it as bad, but the old HO71 crew, Hudson
Yeah.
Radio, this is Side Motorsports team. I mean, you talk about you just can't put yourself in a hole. Just do anything not to put yourself, make us have to really dig ourselves out of a hole. And I feel
Yeah.
like that this past weekend was, I mean, straight up a nightmare for that team. And so,
Yeah, when you look at the points of those top four, in reality, I mean, you look at it, and Devin Moran and JD going into the weekend where they think come out, they pretty much flip flop spots. I think JD was 70 back of RTJ going in, and Moran's 80 back RTJ now, who's leading the points. Like, for anyone to have a chance, it's going to have to be Moran, and he's going to have to be absolutely perfect because they only have 4 races left to try to win a championship.
yeah. And
JD's 180 back already. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I don't even know if he statistically can even do it.
I mean, I think, you know, coming into this weekend, the good thing, I want to say it's back in the bag, but at least in his back pocket is JD's. I mean, we're finishing at the season at his favorite track at Eldora, but yeah, I mean it. I don't quite have the statistically if he's even, but I think you're going to have to count on, which, you know, can happen, but I don't foresee it. You're going to have to hope for a flipped weekend of what you just had. Him to run well and Ricky to get caught up in something or to have, you know, something like that. I mean, you don't ever want to wish that.
Even statistically, then numbers wise, you're going to have RTJ have a couple DNFs along the way here.
Yeah.
Because,
And
you know, when you look at the point spread and how they're paying out points, right? You know, based on the way they pay those points out, separating the top 2, I think it's 10-point difference, right? Like, well, he's got 170 to make up 10 and 4 races. The math ain't math real great there.
yeah.
So,
and like you said, it's gonna ramp up here. I mean, well, it already had. I mean, you could clearly tell the way Moran raced Davenport there. It's elbows up from the drop of the green flag.
yep.
From hot laps to qualifying, it don't matter. It's all take, no give now. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, we'll see what happens here. Got 2 races this weekend at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor Speedway, Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and 4th, for 2 shows, and then off for a weekend. And then that following weekend, we are going to Eldora for the Dirt Track World Championship on Friday and Saturday, October 18th. So, damn, it's just crazy that we're at this point right now.
They're wrapping up the season.
Yeah, wrapping up the season and talking the first week of October. So,
Yeah. Looking at the race, RTJ actually he ends up winning that feature on Saturday. He wins his wins his second in the last 3 years, Jackson 100. So he's gone 2 of the last 3 in terms of winning that race. So picking up right where he left off in terms of winning that race, no matter what ride he's in. So RTJ just letting her hang out and obviously chasing a second consecutive Lucas Oil title. So
yeah, I don't know. I like the new playoff format. I do like it. But I was maybe wondering, could we maybe go like throw another 2 races in there?
yeah. 8.
Yeah, let's get an extra weekend in there, extra weekend show. But yeah, no, I think I like the playoff. I like the way it's set up. NASCAR can maybe take a page out of their book. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and it's great. Like I said, it's crazy to think about that shit. Here we are, talking the first week of October, and only 2 shows left for them guys on the year.
Yep. Cool. Any final thoughts with Lucas Oil before we jump into the Cup Series?
No, it's
our
I think we
TJs
got,
at this point.
yeah, it's our TJs to lose, and I think we got, honestly, like this. I think you could argue those are the 4 best cars in the series right now. So
Yeah, and consistently, I think those 4 have been the best all year as well.
yeah, so no, it's gonna be interesting to see. And obviously the way Moran raced Davenport, I wonder if there's maybe a little potential retaliation coming. Who knows? Needless to say, it's going to be interesting. So, looking forward to this weekend. Another 2-night show. So, it'll be good.
Yep, for sure. Well, that kind of wraps up a little bit of a collective touch on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Obviously, did a little racing at the Jackson 100. So that kind of gives you a little insight into where they are at in terms of their season point standings and all the good stuff to go with some dirt super late model racing. As we do, we're going to go ahead and transition to the Cup race at Kansas, and this one was kind of a wild one, all over the place. I mean, right out of the gate, you had 2 guys that struggled pretty hard, and Reddick and Byron. Obviously, Reddick had kind of a little bit of a run in on pit road again. But those 2 guys, were kind of guys that I had tabbed to be pretty fast all weekend, and they struggled early. But Reddick did find his way to the front there at the end. One thing I don't know, I threw this bullet point in here. Oh my God, is RCR bad? At one point, they were running like 32nd and 33rd, or 32nd and 35th. Oh my God, they are bad. What happened?
I think they got up to 25th. I don't want to, for their sake, let's give them 25th. I don't want to do them dirty and say it was 35th. But at one point at that video I sent you guys, they were running, again, it's either 25th or 35th. Either way, it's unacceptable for that camp. And we had the spotter talking about potentially jumping off the spotter stand. They were so bad.
Well, they were talking on Channel 2, trying to keep him calm in the car. I mean, you're racing back there with the likes of where?
I mean, and we I mean, you want to, at this point in the year, like, you've got to come out of the box and be somewhat in the area code.
This is the second trip to this place.
And when this camp shows up to the track, and it started right away at practice, not even in the correct zip code. I mean, was he the second slowest car on 10-lap average?
Yeah.
And I guess seeing this, maybe I should eat my words a little bit on old Austin Dillon, because if Buddy's been surviving in the Cup Series for this long and he's in this kind of equipment, like, I don't know. I mean, it's, and
I'm
who
Bush
did I
used to
see?
be that could win 8 races a year when he was at Joe Gibson. He was somebody that anywhere you went, you couldn't count the guy out. Now you can't even count him in. When you're looking at your fantasy lineup, you don't even sniff the 8 with a 10-foot pole.
Carolyn said, "Yeah, I threw Kyle Busch in my garage." I said, "No, find anybody else."
Anybody.
I said, "Anybody else? Don't you, Kyle Busch? No." And
how can you be that slow going back to a track the second time?
and I don't know who it is. Well, to answer your question, I have no shot, no clue. Zero clue. Like, you would think, like, hey, based on the data we had last time where we finished, after you got out of the car and you talked to your crew chief, hey, the car was doing this, whatever, you kind of recap the day. It's like, all right, So let's put that in the notebook. Here's the base. This will get us, obviously a few things change, track temp, whatever. But honestly, I have zero. How? Well, I guess we can find out how. Let's see if maybe that's where he finished in the spring race.
I just having a hard time racking my brain on that with a Hall of Famer.
And that was going to be my next talking point is you want to talk about somebody who you feel like, and I don't want to say he's tarnished his legacy, but like you don't want this like for Kyle Busch. Like he's going to go out of the sport until they turn this thing around. Like if this trajectory continues, like he's going to go out of the sport, retire, and people are going to totally forget who he was in that 18 camp with JGR.
Dude, the Skittles and M&M car every other week that he showed up in, and if it was a mile and a half, you were chasing the 18. It didn't matter where you were going. And now he's getting lapped.
So
green flag conditions.
In the spring race, him and his teammate finished 21st. His teammate finished 22nd.
Yeah. Where did they finish on Sunday? Oh, dear God, it couldn't have been a whole lot better, if at all.
Austin Dillon finished 27th, and Kyle Busch finished 19th.
So collectively, they averaged finished worst second time.
Correct.
Jesus. Well, I mean, dude, we got to find some positivity in this episode. We're struggling today. But I mean, I don't know. That was just to me, it's like how, like they are historically bad right now. How?
No, and
when
like
we touch on the news, Randall Burnett, obviously there's been some news on him, and we'll touch on it in the news section. Maybe that has something to do with it that he's just checked out. I don't know.
So in trying to be a little bit positive on it, like I guess there really isn't a positive for that camp.
No. I mean, so going from that, I mean, I also, let's just get this out of the way, then we can talk about the finish. I didn't have a car going upside down on my bingo card.
No, and I'll be honest. I didn't have that on my bingo card, and I'll be honest with you, I did not have JGR.
Oh, lights out.
Somebody want to check them for rocket fuel because, boy, oh boy, that camp is
they're set on kill.
And yeah, I did not have Zane Smith, who ironically got cleaned out by a Toyota.
Yep. Yeah.
Going upside down and wall riding there.
I saw a picture on Twitter. It was a picture of the wall. You know, he was up on his side on the wall. And there was a whole bunch of rubber along the wall. And it said, yeah, no wonder he's up there. It looks like there might be some grip up there.
Dude, that is funny.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card for the day.
No. Ultimately it wasn't his doing either.
No, he just got cleaned out. I mean, talking about the Toyotas, so that red flag kind of sets us up for a short run. I mean, Toyota, unfortunately, Toyota took their ball and went home because when you look at the end of the race, you got Bubba, Denny, Reddick, Briscoe, Bell. The Toyota had the field covered. Toyota was lights out. And you got 223-11 cars who have to win to get through, basically. Right? He was 27 to the bad going in. Reddick was below him somewhere in the 40s, I believe. 30s, 40s. So you got those two cars inside a row of 1s and 2s, and you got Denny and Briscoe on the outside of rows 1 and 2. And Briscoe was fast too. So you got those 5 cars in the top 5. And the boys got to racing, and
Dude, they're so fast, they fumbled the bag.
All said and done, Toyota, as they're walking away going, shoot. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's that Instagram reel of that guy walking around the old table
and you're out. Yep. I mean, how pissed is Toyota guy be watching that happen? I mean, Chase Elliott, calculated or not, what did he pass? Like 9 cars in the last 2 laps on the green-white checker?
Yeah. Went nuclear. And
I guess he proved that there's some passing in this next-gen car.
Yeah.
You can't pass, apparently.
And I mean, for him, too, like that, I mean, we've been talking about this whole HMS team, too. And
called for his neck last week.
Yeah, I don't want to say putting him on blast, but just like
we did.
Yeah, like what are we doing? Like you're not doesn't seem like you guys have got it figured out. Like I guess our expectations are sky high for HMS. And I guess when I think of Hendrick, like I think of what Toyota did this weekend. That's what I think Hendrick should be doing week in and week out. Yep. And I guess when I set the bar insanely high for them, it's easy for me to be calling for next, so I should maybe give him a little grace. But
yeah,
JGR, I mean, that is.
I mean, they're going to be tough to beat unless they beat themselves like they did.
Yeah, and that I mean that's going to be, a serious talking point going forward. Like, because like you said, you can't afford that.
No, Chase Elliott was a spectator in the whole deal, thinking the Toyota's got the field covered, and old boys got to racing, and he just swooped through there because they were racing each other so hard.
And obviously there's skill involved in racing, but you want to talk about sometimes just putting the laps down, and sometimes you just got to be there at the end for a shot to win it, and that is putting yourself in the right place at the right time.
Yep. And the 9 Camp did that.
100%. And pays massive dividends for them.
So it's funny, and we talked about this, and I think we're going to talk about the Freddie Kraft quote here a little bit from obviously the podcast today with what they had going on. And obviously Denny made his comments about how Gibbs raced him, and wouldn't your name's on the building? Wouldn't you want one of your cars to win a championship? And Freddie Kraft said, your number's on the building. Wouldn't you want one of your cars to win a championship? I think I've heard that quote somewhere before. I think I got that from somewhere. Like, you want to talk about a 9-day difference from a week ago.
And obviously you want to win the race. That's obviously what you're here to do.
Yep.
But I mean, ultimately, like, obviously Denny's a competitor. He wants to win. But I mean, not that we're into collusion and rigging races, but
oh boy,
if Buddy would have let Bubba win, I mean,
it's money in his pocket.
Dude, he would have sent one of his cars to the next round of the playoffs, and he would be probably sitting, 5th in the playoffs, or wouldn't have changed his outlook at all, really.
No, he'd be in a decent spot, and he'd have one of his cars that he owns with a chance to go potentially to lock themselves into the Final Four.
Literally, he finished second in the race, so he could have put one of his cars to the next round and finished second and been in literally the exact same spot. So
even if he finishes 3rd or 4th and his car wins the race, those 2 points for where he's at in the points, in the long run, yes, you probably want him. But again, you want to talk about, talked about the race manipulation a little bit, given some scenarios. Again, the Joe Gibbs guys in the Toyotas, they said, yeah, don't worry about the race collusion. We'll just take care of it ourselves.
And
I was kind of dumbfounded watching the finish, to be honest.
No, I was too. And I mean, but then, like you said, you're in this sport to win races, and we know how difficult it is to do.
Yeah.
And it feels like Denny said, he wanted number 60. And right, it's easy for us to sit here and say, yeah, you should. Why did you do that? But I mean, shit, if I was in that car and I had a shot to win a NASCAR race, like,
yep,
I would go for it. I would hope I'd be a little bit more calculated than that I wouldn't wreck a car I own.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, I won't say eliminates Bubba, but
it essentially did.
Yeah.
He went from locked in to eliminated in a hurry because unfortunately, when you go to the Roval next week here, you're going to have SVG is going to be tough to beat. Bell's a decent road racer. You're going to talk about somebody like AJ Allmendinger, who's got road course experience. There's going to be a handful of road course ringers that are going to be really tough to beat.
And I mean, you could even throw in somebody like Austin Cindric, who that's where he made his bread and butter in the Xfinity Series, was road racing. Like,
yep,
it is no easy task, and ultimately, unless his car breaks, I think everybody's going to be racing for second place next weekend. I think Jizzy's going to be. Anytime you got to turn right, he's got a rocket ship, and so we're turning right next week. So you'd expect him to be really fast in lead laps. So,
yep,
I don't know, man. I get wanting to win the race, but also he's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got to be a little bit aware of the situation, as they would say. It's your car you own. Ultimately, yeah, you want to win the race, but if you don't win the race, like, hey, your car's through to the next round, your playoff position in the standings isn't going to change. Like,
yep. Yeah. I mean, in reality, it just that's one of those Monday morning meetings that can we get those things live streamed on YouTube somewhere? That's 2 weeks in a row now, and it's been him in both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, what the Toyotas did is they created a hell of a finish.
Oh, for real. And still finished 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7.
Chase Elliott came sailing through there, and as he said, I wasn't going to lift. And he gave Hamlin the old shot in the shorts, and away he went by 3/4 of a car length. Oh, man. I mean, when he was buried deep there, I'm like, I had a decent day. And he was, I don't know, 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever he was on that last restart. And I'm like, they pieced together a decent day. And then all of a sudden, he comes shooting through there, and especially going left, just crossing the white there. Those Toyota boys were getting racing, and he made a few pretty decisive moves to gain himself a few positions going into 1 and 2 there. And that was all she wrote from there. So,
yeah, and I'm just cruising the results here. And again, I don't want to say we've ragged on these two, but Ty Gibbs and Alex Bowman.
Yeah, Bowman got run over. That was that was none of his own doing. Was that SVG that ran him over, pinched him in the wall? I think he got his first top 10 on an oval. By the way,
I was gonna say, well, there's a little positive. He's been racing Cup for a while now. First year full time, couple races last year, but hey, we found the top 10 on an oval. with about 5 races left on the year. So
Somebody said, you could be dangerous next year, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I go that far just yet. I mean, running through your finishing order: Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, Briscoe, Bubba, Larson finishes 6th, Reddick 7th, Brad K 8th, Byron 9, SVG 10. Then you go Chastain, Gilliland, Ty Dillon, McDowell, Busher to 15th. So, yeah, the old Toyota boys, they fumbled the bag there on the last lap and a half or 2 laps there, and they got racing real hard. Got a little greedy, and Chevy is loving that one. The 9 camp is thrilled. So, yeah, man, oh man, that was a while. I just sat there and I'm just like, holy Christ, that was a hell of a finish. And you got to remember, Kansas, that's the home of the old 0.001 finish with the 3 wide with Busch and Suarez. And I mean, that place just keeps producing good finishes one way or another.
is that Kansas or is that Atlanta?
Pretty sure it's Kansas because I think they had it painted on the start finish line.
Well, Mi Amigo was.
I think that was Kansas. I'm like,
Either way,
yep.
doesn't change the fact of what we got going on.
Yeah, 2024 Advent Health 400 to Kansas.
Why am I drawing a blank on that race?
0.001 was the finishing one. Kyle Larson. I guess that was just 2 cars. It was Kyle Larson and Chris Buescher.
Got it. Yes, I was going to say, I thought it was Suarez, Busch.
That was Atlanta, yep. But I was thinking of those 2 guys booking it out for the win there. That's what was painted on the start finish.
Neither here nor there. But
yep.
While we're talking about Van Jizzy and Bubba and Toyotas, let's do a little check-in here and see what we're rocking and rolling with the cut line. Because we are heading into a cutoff race on Sunday at the Roval.
God, yeah. So when you look at the standings, you got, we'll go. I mean, Larson and Denny have to make the end of stage 1 to pretty much lock themselves in. 54-48 to the good. Bell's 44 to the good. Byron's 40 to the good. Briscoe 7th is 21 to the good. And then Logano is, he's just above the cut line, 13 to the good. So, and then you look at the bottom. Chastain, Bubba, Reddick, Cindric, 13, 26, 29, 48 out. Cindric's obviously a must win. I mean, really, the only one that's not a must win is Chastain, but he's going to have to be lights out start to finish.
I was going to say for those other 3, which Bubba, Reddick, and Cindric, 10, 11, 12.
Yep.
All relatively respectable road racers.
Yep.
Who could all, I mean, if I tuned in on Sunday or when I tune in and to see one of those 3 guys leading the race, I would not be, wouldn't totally shock me if they were winning the race. So,
yep.
I don't know if I'm looking at I'm looking at, I think it comes down to Logano and Chastain. For Briscoe, it's like, hey, just run the laps. Don't, let's not beat ourselves. He's sitting 21 to good. If he just runs the laps and doesn't beat himself,
Yep.
He'll be okay. But if I'm Ross Chastain, dude, the strategy is we are in qualifying trim the entire weekend, because Lord knows if he gets in front, it is a you know what to get around him.
Oh my God.
So for him, we're in qualifying trim all weekend. Qualify that thing up front and make that thing 4 lanes wide, Ross. Drive
Yep.
out of your rearview mirror like you usually do, and
Yep.
put all the pressure on that 22 team. But I don't know. It's
Here, I'm gonna pose a question for you, and I'm gonna ask you, and I want a yes or a no. I don't want a maybe. Does the 22 get through to the round of 8?
yeah,
You think so?
yep.
Okay.
Again, I think the path for Chastain, which he's an okay road racer. I think the path for him he's got to qualify that thing up front. He's got to keep it up front.
Yep.
But I don't know. This Penske team's got 3 cars in the round of 12. 2 of them are currently in the round, going to the round of 8.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just feel like it's playoff time, like we talked about last week. Like I swear, every year playoffs hit and Penske like hits a switch and gets data that nobody else has. And yeah, I mean, I just trust Logano to.
And I
He's
think
not going to do something to beat himself.
that's the thing with him is he doesn't have to have an absolute stellar day. The 4
No,
guys below him, you just can't have one of those guys win, and you're going to be all right. If he can just pick a few points here and there in each stage and keep himself out of trouble, he'll be all right.
yeah, and that's somebody like that who's been around the block, championship driver. Like
Yep.
you just laid out the day for him. Hey, keep all 4 fenders on it. If we can get some stage points here and there, great. And
Let some of these guys that are desperate eliminate themselves.
bingo.
Somebody pushes a little too hard, you got to do a stop and go in the old chicane or whatever the case is. Let these guys beat themselves. Let them cut the course and have themselves in a little bit of a jiffy, and then the next thing you know, that's another 6 to 8 spots to the good for you.
The part I do get leery about is, obviously you want to be running up front, but if you're not running up front, you're back there with the squirrels. And
Yep.
I mean, we're looking at 4 drivers below the cut line that might as well put snow plows on the front of their car this week.
She's going to be gloves off.
And the part that I get leery about is getting caught up in somebody else's mess.
Yep. If he can avoid that, he's going to be all right.
So I guess you posed the question to me, does the 22 move themselves to the round of the 8? What's your answer?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. I think he does.
And if we have no movement, the playoff standings, which I haven't touched on this, the playoff standings stay exactly as is and go to the round of 8, we're going to be rocking 3 Chevys, 3 Toyotas, and 2 Fords in the round of 8.
Yep.
So pretty even split across manufacturers that are putting themselves through to the round of 8 if it stands as is.
Right.
But
and looking at the guys that are currently in the round of 8, those would be guys that you'd have pegged to get in there.
Yeah, I think
I didn't have Elliott, I don't think, getting into the round of 8. I don't think I had him through the round of 8, but
just remind me to review that god awful fantasy bracket I filled out.
Yeah.
Dude, I put Jizzy in the round of 8.
So did I.
Jesus.
What was I doing?
Because if he wins this race this week,
Oh my God. Where do you log in to see that again?
Go to the NASCAR app and then a playoff grid challenge right below where you go for live to set your lineup.
Yeah, I had him through the round of 8. Like,
yeah,
we got spoofed on that one bad.
So I'm looking at what do I have here?
Where is my? There we go.
And I'm going to go, if it stands as is, I'm going to go 7 of 8.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Why?
For the round of 8. I'll be all right. My round of 8: Larson, Byron, Denny, Blaney, Logano, and Bell. So I'm going to go 6 of 8 because I had SVG and Tyler Reddick getting through. That's my round of 8.
So tell me if I'm getting this right. I have Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Elliott, Logano, and Jizzy.
So you'll go 7 of 8 if it stays as is. Then I'll go 6 because I'll have Reddick and SVG eliminated.
Oh boy.
Yep. And I'm currently 2,218th in the rankings there in that whole deal. Yeah, 10 points off a leader, and I'm 2,000th.
Where do you see the standings?
If you go, when you're in there, if you go into the, click standings.
What are you at?
2,218. Should be right at the top. Should be the very top one.
Yours says 2-0. No, how many points do you have?
2,218. I have 110 points.
You're telling me I have 100 points and I'm 23,098?
Probably.
Come on.
I'm 10 points off the leader, and I'm 2,218.
Are you sure you're not missing a number?
2218. 2218. I'm positive. I'm absolutely.
There's got to be a typo. $2,218. Wow.
Look like 10,000 people behind me.
Yeah, I'm rocking the 23098 TH.
TH, yep. Oh, yeah. So I sit in that, but I could go 6 for 8, and that's where you'll catch me.
I do like that little playoff bracket. That was a little fun.
Yep. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's kind of a little touch on what was a Toyota disaster, a Chevy success, a wild finish to a Kansas race. Man, Kansas puts on good racing. So I thought the racing was good itself. Guys moving around for speed. I really enjoy Kansas.
No, for real. I think that's I don't know. I don't know the weather in Kansas in November, but boy, that would be a fun one to, I don't know, even move it back to the round of
8.
Round of 8. I don't know.
Yep.
I love Kansas. I like you said, I would put that easily top 5 favorite track.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, should we go ahead and jump into some news?
There's never a shortage of news. It's rock and roll.
This section kind of went crazy this week. So the first half will kind of be a little bit of a mixed bag of everything, and then the second half will kind of hammer on some fairly significant news in the NASCAR scene as well. So, starting at the top, obviously this one's closer to home for us. This is a cool deal. Carver, Minnesota's Jacob Gady won his second NASCAR Weekly Series National Championship with home tracks at Dells Raceway Park, La Crosse, and Elko. So this is his second national championship. So he's a guy that we see run Fairmont. So that was cool to see him win that feature at Elko last week and to secure the weekly national championship, his second. So pretty cool deal for him. Dale Jr. announces he'll be running the late model stock race at Tri-County on October 4th. So speaking of guys trying to get their cars ready for the weekend, he will be bringing the classic Sundrop looking late model stock to Tri-County on Saturday afternoon. Fayetteville Motor Speedway announces that they will be closing following the completion of the 2025 racing season, as the dirt track, the drag strip, and property behind will become industrial and commercial usage. So the dirt track scene, unfortunately, loses another racetrack, which you always hate to hear. Speaking of dirt news, this one came out this morning. Very interesting. Brad Sweet, Kevin Rudine, they have acquired the NARC Sprint Car Series out in California. They've purchased that from Josh Kading and Jim Allen. As you kind of have heard the name Rudine, Kevin Rudine owns that number 26 entry for High Limit, as they've run full-time with them. And he is also the owner of Skagit Speedway, while Brad Sweet, obviously co-owner of High Limit, while also being the promoter at Silver Dollar Speedway. So these boys got their hands full with what they have dipped their toes into with everything. So a lot of very good reviews have come out of this transition and the new ownership, and a lot of people on the West Coast have been saying that will be really good for 410 racing out on the West Coast. So good to hear that coming out with that transition. Indy NXT champ Dennis Hauger joins Dale Coyne Racing in 2026 with a technical partnership from Andretti Global. So a little change in the NXT driver team pairings. And then this kind of sets off the start of the NASCAR news. Randall Burnett leaving RCR. He will head over to crew chief for Connor Zilic next year in the Cup Series at Trackhouse. So, as we kind of alluded to it, maybe he's checked out on this 8 team as they struggled god awfully.
Got his mind on brighter horizons.
Maybe.
Which hopefully not. Hopefully he helps finish. Well, never mind.
Yep.
I'll be nice. Let's get into some feel like a lot of asphalt news here, a lot of NASCAR news. Feel like first time in a while we haven't had lawsuit news, so it feels good to say NASCAR and not have lawsuit involved. But first off here, Bubba Pollard says he broke his hand at Toledo. He'll be taking some time off with his next race not being known. Obviously, we're getting in the first week of October here. And first week of October means you can start throwing around the word snowball derby. And that's that's obviously a race that he wants to be in tip-top shape for, wants to be ready to rock and roll for that. So got a broken hand, and I'm sure he's going to do everything to get that thing healed up, and not sure when he'll be in the car next. So unfortunate news there for one of the best in late model racing. So getting into some of the NASCAR news here. Wild week of news here. Starting with colleague. Never mind. Chris Rice has been promoted to CEO of Colleague Racing, announced by Matt Colleague. So I guess Colleague. What?
He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I guess Matt Colleague is super thrilled with the results he's seeing. So promotes Chris Rice to CEO. Head scratcher. Then we got some head scratching stuff here coming up. I feel like the entire NASCAR news section here. NASCAR has hired a marketing agency called Night Advisory to better understand this new world of internet and how NASCAR could start reaching a younger audience. Per Adam Stern, the agency brought the Riz, the old Riz. You know the Rizzler?
Yep.
Yeah, they brought the Rizzler to the Daytona 500.
Night advisory. It's snowing or what? I don't know. Jesus.
Do you see the Riz and you?
Yeah, because when I see the Rizzler, the first thing I think is Daytona 500.
Yeah. So
Expect about 40,000 12-year-olds to be watching NASCAR.
So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I mean, right idea. Is the application correct? Unsure. We're gonna find out.
Yeah. And definitely concerning viewership last week with New Hampshire and G1 or F1 as some call it is putting out as many or more views for a 7:30 a.m. race on a Sunday morning. So yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess let's target the young audience whose parents have to turn on the TV for them. So that's the target market we're going for. So see how that pays off. It's just more head scratch and stuff here. NASCAR has parted ways with race director. I'm just gonna skip the first name, Mr. Hamilton, who's no longer a part of NASCAR. NASCAR would not elaborate per Bob Pockris and does not seem to be performance related. So is it Wasan?
I think so. Yep.
Wasan Hamilton.
Yeah.
Anyways, that'll be the last time he'll be in the news section because he is no longer with NASCAR.
First and last.
First and last. Then we stay right in NASCAR. Senior NASCAR executive Chip Weil plans to exit the role after the season and leave the company. Oversight of sports racetracks will be assumed by Ben Kennedy. So a lot of these people either fired or leaving right now. So it will be interesting to see come next year who fills the roles, any changes to be made from some of the big time important positions in that within NASCAR. Somebody else who was fired in NASCAR, Rodney Childers, will crew chief the Junior Motorsports #1 entry to be split driving duties between Carson Kvapil and Connor Zilisch. The 88 will run the full schedule with multiple drivers as well. Allgaier Smith stay full time, and the #9 runs as needed with cup limit rules. So interesting move here with Childers going to Junior Motorsports. I shouldn't say he was fired. He amicably parted ways.
Well, this was kind of a two-piecer because obviously the Kvapil news had not been broken either. So that kind of makes the announcement that he won't be running full-time for Junior again next year.
Correct.
People were wondering about the move. I personally love the move. Childers is going to have a chance to win a lot of races with some young talent. And let's be honest, winning is fun.
Yeah, and I don't want to say this either, but sometimes where, coach gets into, I don't know, you get a coach like the Badger football coach gets himself into a position where you're just struggling. And it's like, sometimes you need to go back to something where you can get your mojo back, your winning ways.
Yep.
Childers is going to be with some really good equipment with a really good team. And he's got two of the best young guns that he's going to be coaching up, mentoring. Yep. And like you said, I think he's going to do a lot of winning with those two. And like you said, we all do it to win, and winning is fun. So that'll be interesting. And then lastly here, per Adam Stern and Jeff Gluck, we complained enough, we might get change, and NASCAR is weighing options of overhauling the playoffs or doing away with it altogether and just going back to the 36 race schedule, determining a champion. So take that for what it's worth. How you're feeling, how you feel about the playoffs, and yeah.
Yep. No broken news in terms of what they're actually concrete doing. Just the rumor mill has been very strong with the playoffs.
Yep.
So, well, we're going to jump into handing out our Wheelman of the Week. We've got a handful of nominations in terms of drivers across a whole bunch of different disciplines. I'll go ahead and read off the first couple here, and then let you leave the last two, and then we'll go from there. As the aforementioned, Jake Vigati wins his second NASCAR Weekly National Championship. He's in this section because he did win the feature to clinch the national championship. So a little bit of a season-long award, along with the idea of winning his feature to lock that up. So kind of a little bit of twofold for him. Dale Blaney wins the World of Outlaws at Sharon. He becomes the oldest driver to win a World of Outlaw race at 61 years old. Still getting her done behind the wheel. And then, as we had talked about, Landon Pembleton wins the Valley Star Credit Union 300. That will be his second of that prestigious event.
I will go and take these next two. Rick Thornton Jr., we touched on, wins his second Jackson 100 in 30 years, getting a big payday there. And then we touched on it, and I don't know if we should give him Wheelman of the Week because Toyota wheeled themselves right out of this section. Chase Elliott wins a thriller at Kansas to lock himself into the round of 8. And as we said, he big win for him and gets him through to the round 8. So,
yeah. Where are you going? I know where I'm headed.
Where are you headed?
Gady.
Dang it.
Where are you going?
I was going to go Blaney.
Really?
Just so fact, Blaney wins World Outlaws, and he's 61. He can turn on Social Security next year. But he's out here winning races.
I mean, Gady's going to have a chance at this too, because with Oktoberfest weekend coming up, he's got a chance to win the lacrosse track championship too. So I can get behind Blaney. I can go with him.
I don't want to speak for him. I know he'll listen, but if we had our third pit crew member here, you know where his heart lies.
Yep. There you go. Blaney it is. Dale, not the aforementioned Ryan Blaney as we talked Cup Series racing. So Dale Blaney, Wheelman of the Week. Quite the feat at 61 years old. So kind of the last little piece here. We're just going to touch briefly on the Oktoberfest race weekend. This is an absolute crown jewel for us in terms of the Midwest racing. And within this, we've got some massive storylines in terms of point championships. So when we talk Oktoberfest race weekend, we are talking super late model racing all week. You have late models, you got sportsmen, you got Hornets, you got street stocks. I mean, Midwest Dash Series, Big 8 late models, Mid-American stock cars. Everybody is at lacrosse this weekend. Racing starts on Thursday. Wednesday, October 1st, is the practice day, and then racing gets kicked off. How can we forget the Midwest Truck Series? Also in action as well, is their point battle, as we've mentioned time and time again, is intense. So looking at the weekend, lots of super late model racing starting on Thursday night. You got the Knights and the Futures, Thursday night, Friday. You got the super late model Dick Trickle 99, 333 lap segments broken up there. And then we go to Saturday, and you have the Midwest Tour qualifying and preliminary events for the 200. And then Sunday, you go ahead and jump into the Oktoberfest 200. Saturday night, you also have your Midwest Truck Series doing battle Saturday, October 4th, Saturday night, underneath the lights at La Crosse. So they will be doing battle there. So when we look at the Midwest Tour, ASA Midwest Tour point standings, we kind of have talked about this tightening up as the season has gone on. Gabe Summers currently leads Casey Johnson by 3 points heading into the weekend for the point standings. So Casey Johnson is chasing him by 3. Gabe Summers is your 2-time back-to-back defending Midwest Tour champion. But the vet, Casey Johnson, he's got a few titles of his own. So, again, we talk about it all the time. Every lap matters. Odd even dashes, qualifying, heat races. Every lap is going to be points and positions that these boys are chasing.
And you look at the I think the last I looked, we were up to 47 super lates, and this is the best of the best. Yep. And yeah, you talk about you can't afford to miss it. I'm talking can't afford to. Well, yeah, you can't afford to miss it watching it wise, but as a driver, you can't afford to miss it either because you're going up against. I mean, like you said, best of the best. And we touched on him earlier in a late model. Anytime he hops in the wheel behind one time Majeski.
Yep. You know, someone else that had a good run there last year. He's coming back again. Michael Hind from Hernando, Florida. Obviously, that pairing with Toby and the Toby car and Majeski in that group has been pretty solid. Aforementioned Jacob Gady. And then you look down the list. I mean, you have the best of the best in the Midwest in terms of super late model racing. Vandergeest, Storm, Fredrickson, Morrissey had a wrecked race car and found himself on the podium last year. Stenjem, he's usually fairly fast. Ryan Farrell will be there. Tristan Swanson's got his car back together. He'll be there. Dalton Zero had something to say about this race a year ago until he got caught up in a wreck. And then you got some young guns that are going to have something to say about this. You got somebody like Penn Sauter. And there's looking up and down the list, you got a ton of guys on these lists that can go in and win any of these races across the weekend. So, yeah, 3 points of the championship battle. That race takes place on Sunday afternoon, actually. So, that'll be cool to see. That'll wrap up their points championship. As we've talked about it, and we love talking Midwest truck racing. Saturday night, their point battle is damn near as tight as the Midwest Tour. They got a 4-point championship battle with Griesbach and Reichenberger. That race will take place on Saturday night, which is their second last race of the season. They head to the Dells in October to crown their champion at Dells Raceway Park. So, again, same scenario. Every position matters in terms of qualifying, heat races, and obviously finishing the features.
Got to execute a full night, not even full night, full weekend.
You can be there. You can be there on Wednesday practicing if you'd like to. We had guys practicing on Saturday already. They had a practice day on Saturday. So, yeah, just it's one of the biggest crown jewels in the Midwest. In terms of just the weekend together. You want to talk about cars on track, you can be up and at the track and cars will be on track the entire day. If you can sit there all day and watch or you want to. It's an incredible scene to go. It's awesome. It's a must.
I was going to say it's become crown jewel, a spectacle, whatever you want to call it.
Who do you have winning the Midwest Tour title?
I don't know. What's the point gap?
3.
Johnson.
Me too. I think yeah.
Savvy bet. And just from reports is Summers can get a little bit heated when things don't go his way. So
it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
3 points. It is going to be wild. Well, if you can't be there on Sunday, I guess all weekend you can watch. Everything will be live on Track TV. So if you can't get there because you got to work, like most of us do, you can watch that on Track TV. From there, that kind of wraps up the big preview of the weekend. We've got the full schedule posted on all of our social medias already. So if you're looking for a bigger rundown in terms of what might be on Flow or Dirt Vision or any of the other big series that are running, or even if your local short tracks are running specials, make sure you get there to send them off in style as we finish the season. So schedule's out. Take a glance at that. That gives you some a full picture of what the racing weekend looks like. Well, that puts a wrap on the 101st edition of the Tuesday Track Talk. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.